Good morning, everyone from Washington, D.C., and good afternoon to those in Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us for a wonderful session today. My name is Professor Japa Dawuni. I'm an Associate Professor of Political Science at Howard University and the founding director of the Center for Women, Gender, and Global Leadership. I will be the Madam of Ceremonies for this morning, and it is my delight to also thank our collaborating partners. On behalf of Howard University, as your virtual host, I would like to say a special thank you to our collaborating organizations and entities. I would like to thank the U.S. Embassy to Ghana and its representative who has been at the forefront of planning this event, Ms. Stephanie Hutchinson and her team. I would also like to recognize the International Trade Center for their collaboration. Then the State Department Power, promoting opportunities for women's economic rise. The Center for African Studies at Howard University, directed by Professor Krista Johnson, and the Center for Women, Gender, and Global Leadership, of which I am the director. Thank you all so much for joining us, and welcome to a virtual Howard University. Without taking too much time, and to kick the event for today, I would like to also recognize and present to the podium to give us opening remarks the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Ambassador Stephanie Sullivan. Ambassador Sullivan, the virtual microphone is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I just need to adjust something on my computer, and I'll be right with you. I think I have a little bit of a lag. Sorry, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine.
Okay, great. So thank you so much, Professor Jarpa Dawuni. And let me greet Ghana's ambassador to the United States, Hajia Alima Mahama, Deputy Assistant U.S. Trade Representative, Lorianne Agama, Howard University Provost, Dr. Anthony Wuto, ITC Executive Director, Ms. Pamela Coke-Hamilton, Mr. Sebahizi, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Chief Technical Advisor, Dr. Asari, CEO of GEPA, and Ms. Aisha Bedwai, Madam President of the AmCham of Ghana, Ms. Asari from Alfie Designs, Ms. Pokudabi of Plot, dynamic entrepreneurs and businesswomen from Ghana and the United States, other distinguished guests, all protocols observed. Welcome to the Women's Empowerment Lab. First, let me thank Howard University for serving as our virtual host today, and the International Trade Center team for their contributions to this event. And of course, thanks to all of you for joining today. I'm thrilled to take part in the launch of this dynamic effort, supported by the State Department's Power Initiative, particularly as we celebrate Women's History Month. Providing opportunities for women's economic rise, aptly known as the Power Initiative, promotes women's empowerment to advance economic prosperity. Through today's Women's Empowerment Lab, the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, in collaboration with many partners from whom you will hear today, aims to do what we do best, foster connections. We want to connect you to U.S. government and Government of Ghana programs and opportunities that will fuel your businesses in Ghana, in the United States, and throughout the continent. We want to connect you with additional opportunities to broaden your skill set. And we want you to connect with each other to create a transatlantic network of business women who will share challenges and best practices with one another, create new business partnerships, celebrate one another's successes, and support each other. As the economies of Ghana and the United States emerge from the effects of the pandemic, the opportunity is ripe for you to explore export opportunities. The African Continental Free Trade Area, when fully implemented, will represent the world's largest free trade area. And Ghana, its businesswomen, and the US-based diaspora community are poised to capitalize on the new economic synergies and opportunities that the Africa Continental Free Trade Area can bring. The US government stands ready to assist both US and Ghanaian companies to take advantage of transatlantic and intra-African trade opportunities through initiatives such as Prosper Africa, the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub, and AGOA, among others. Today, I'm pleased to announce $4.2 million in new co-investments by the US Agency for International Development's West Africa Trade and Investment Hub to 5 companies operating in Ghana. The grants are aimed at deepening the United States commercial relationship with Africa, in line with the Prosper Africa Initiative and the African Growth and Opportunity Act. By leveraging USAID's co-investments, these companies will generate over $45 million in private investment, increase exports by $166 million, and create more than 2,000 new jobs, mostly for women and youth. The ripple effects are significant. Let me offer one example. Amati Company Limited is a women-owned Ghanaian social enterprise that pioneered the revival of fonio, a nutritious African grain. With USAID Ghana's grant of $742,000 and private investments of $4.5 million, Amati will work with 5,800 landless women farmers in northern Ghana and will help create a new West African global value chain for increased exports of fonio. Amati will use American-made John Deere equipment and sell to Century Green and Mayarissa in the American market. My team at the embassy and I are deeply committed to and involved in building networks and skills through a variety of programming. For example, in 2019, I was pleased to participate in the launch of the first of the 10 African countries to pilot the Academy of Women Entrepreneurs, known as AWE. Isn't that a great acronym? AWE is based on an online course called Dream Builder that was developed by the Thunderbird School of Management in Arizona to bolster business skills. It includes a mentoring program through which participants are matched with other Ghanaian women entrepreneurs who are alumni of our other exchange programs. I'd like to highlight the success of one AWE graduate. Patience Owusu, owner of Pima Naturals, a shea butter, hair, and skincare products company, started the company in her own home using a kitchen mixer. Thanks to AWE, she was eligible to compete for, and she won a grant from the US African Development Foundation, ADF, with which she procured industrial grade processing equipment, among other items, and funded production, safety, and quality control training for her new staff. The 2022 AWE cohort is expected to launch this month, so keep your eye on our website for your opportunity to apply. We also actively recruit annually for the Yali Mandela Washington Fellowship, which focuses on strengthening civil society engagement, public management, and entrepreneurship. We've completed our intake cycle for this year, but do be ready for the 2023 edition. And when you participate in one of our programs, you'll join the more than 3,000 exchange program alumni in Ghana who are working in healthcare, education, the media, small businesses, government, and civil society organizations. I've repeatedly seen the power of women mentoring other women. Earlier this month, I participated in the Vital Voices Global Mentoring Walk here in Accra. It was inspirational to see the relationships that Mentoring Women Ghana has fostered between women. These relationships, like those we hope to create through today's program, will foster a network of connected, inspired, and empowered women ready to grow their businesses and help others along the way. There's a proverb here in Ghana: if you don't let your friend cross and reach her destination, you will also not cross and reach yours. So let's help each other cross the road and reach our respective destinations together. I encourage you to seize this amazing opportunity before you today to learn, network, and foster connections. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Sullivan, for bringing us those remarks and telling us what has already been done and what is in store. We thank you. I would now hand over the virtual microphone to Ghana's ambassador to the US, Hajia Alima Mahama. Hajia Mahama, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Japa. The U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Ambassador Sullivan, Trade Representatives for Economic Affairs, the Provost and Chief Academic Officer, Howard University, the Executive Director, International Trade Center, the Chief Technical Advisor, AfCFTA, business, women and men, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good day to you all. I bring you warm greetings from the Embassy of Ghana, Washington, D.C. It is an honor to be part of this program with the launch of the Women's Empowerment Lab, which seeks to foster collaboration, networking among women businesses and their peers, as well as provide them with tools and skills for enhanced trading and investment. With AGOA, AfCFTA, and the U.S. Prosper Africa Initiative, there are enormous opportunities for the growth of women-owned businesses. We all know that the COVID-19 pandemic has affected our women entrepreneurs, affected everybody, including the women entrepreneurs especially. Ghana responded by devising a number of programs which were implemented to minimize the impact, to support the realization of government vision of diversity, inclusiveness, and job creation. Some of these programs were implemented by the Ghana Enterprise Agency, formerly NBSSI. Government intervention also through the coronavirus alleviation program and COVID-19 alleviation and revitalization of enterprises support program, that's the Obatampa program, have all provided some access to finance, capacity development, digitization, training, and tools. And women-owned companies that have registered under these programs, especially the CAP-BAS, constitute about 69% of a total of 509 to 424 enterprises that have so far been registered. It is worth noting that the industrious people of Ghana demonstrated remarkable resilience and ingenuity by developing some enterprises during this crisis. They started the local production of sanitizers, PPEs, including non-contact hard-working wash basins, face masks, and many more, and subsequently started exporting to neighboring African countries. This was possible because government purchased all PPEs locally for schools, hospitals, and various other institutions. And many of these entrepreneurs were women-owned businesses. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the government of Ghana is focused on growing the economy through putting in place a regulatory framework with the right mix of policies and programs to elicit private sector active response. There's no gainsaying that MSMEs are dominated by female entrepreneurs in Ghana, though majority are in the formal sector. However, women-owned enterprises have demonstrated potential for growth with the appropriate support and partnership. This is why any intervention that links women entrepreneurs, either intra-Africa, in the US, and globally, is significant because it creates huge potential for business acceleration and positive socio-economic outcomes. We have them in Ghana. We have a lot of them. And for example, we have the Nora Bannerman, the CEO of Slick Garments. We have Salma Garments, and now Dignity, DTRT, Kate Kwate Papafio, CEO of Leroy Cables, Reverend Dr. Gifty Lamte, CEO of Sidalco Group of Companies, Mrs. Patricia Pokudabi, CEO of Plot Enterprises Ghana. And we like to see some of them in many linking up with the organizations, the entrepreneurs in the US, their peers in the US. I know that some of them already, like for example, DTRT. Some policies and programs that have potential for enhancing women businesses in Ghana include the programs outlined in the Industrial Transformation Agenda. For example, the 1D1F. Also, the decentralization of industrial support through establishment of business resource centers and business advisory centers throughout the country. This has created a one-stop business enterprise at all the district levels. And also the identification of some anchor strategic interests with priority support that women enterprises can also look at. The new national support MSME entrepreneurship program also focuses on harmonization of government intervention to create sustainable MSs. Other policies include supporting businesses with access to funding, grants, skills, training, incubation, access to markets, and regulation support. It's important to know that the national ID card being linked to the TIN registration system is critical, because now your national ID card number becomes your TIN number, and it saves time and also reduces the bottlenecks associated with registration. Now the ID card is also has been vetted and approved as a traveling document to Ghana and the ECOWAS region. So it facilitates the travel of our business persons, especially those in the sub-region. We want to see our businesses also grow and register with so many other institutions. Some of the other programs that government has put in place include supporting and equipping women businesses with digitization tools. The YouStart initiative also provide training and funding. And these are areas that we can tap into. And digitization comes in handy with our collaboration in the area of AfCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, because of the 2030 agenda for digital market and trade. There may be a support system, but I would like to emphasize in conclusion that it's possible many of our female entrepreneurs do not have information on them. Let me state that women need information. Women entrepreneurs need information, tools, and skills for training. Furthermore, agencies implementing this information must set gender-based targets and be held accountable on how these targets are met. Because when we have policies and programs and we have agencies implementing them, we have to be accountable on how we are actually providing support to these women. That's why they must set targets, provide data, and provide information for people to look at. When this is done, then we'll be paying attention to our key principle of inclusion, especially including women entrepreneurs in the government agenda. And for our international audience, let me indicate that Ghana is stable politically. It's a stable economy governed based on rule of law and transparency and open for trade and investment. And I call on you to link up seriously during the breakout sessions to do some networking with your peers in Ghana. Ghanaian women are solid when it comes to businesses, and everybody knows when you go to our markets, you go to places in Ghana, you see them, and you know that the potential is there, the skill is there, and the training is there. So please link up. And from the embassy, we are ready to facilitate your links as well. We have a trade section in the mission, and the trade section is open to ensure facilitation and support for all linkages and for businesses. Thank you very much, and belated Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Mahama, for giving us those remarks, telling us what the government of Ghana is doing and the opportunities for women to continue to grow their business. I would now hand over to the virtual microphone to Dr. Lori Ann Agama, who is the U.S. Trade Representative. Dr. Agama, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Dawani. Good morning and good afternoon, Ambassador Sullivan, Ambassador Mahama, Provost Wutor, Executive Director Cope Hamilton, Mr. Sabir Hizi, distinguished guests and participants. I am honored to join you today for the launch of the Power-supported Women's Empowerment Lab, designed to help women in Ghana and the US-based diaspora develop new partnerships to take advantage of trade opportunities under AGOA and the AfCFTA, a priority for the United States. In February of last year, President Biden addressed the 34th African Union Summit and detailed his administration's commitments to both rebuilding our partnerships around the world and growing trade and investment in a way that advances the prosperity of all countries. In October, during the AGOA Trade Ministerial, my boss, Ambassador Catherine Tai, shared her vision for strengthening and growing US-Africa two-way trade and investment in a way that delivers equitable and inclusive prosperity to all countries and their workers. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, which has been at the core of the US trade relationship with sub-Saharan Africa for more than 20 years, is an important tool for expanding and diversifying US-Africa trade. AGOA provides eligible African countries with duty-free and quota-free access to the US market, a $25 trillion economy on more than 6,000 products. Last year, US sub-Saharan Africa trade, exports plus imports, totaled $44.9 billion, an increase of 37% from its value in 2020 and above pre-COVID-19 pandemic levels. Within this total, AGOA trade was $6.7 billion, an increase of 60% from 2020, also above pre-pandemic levels. Ghana ranked 4th among AGOA suppliers with exports to the United States, totaling $324.4 million in 2021, an increase of 138% from 2020. Since 2000, AGOA has helped millions of people, supported increased investment, and created hundreds of thousands of new jobs, including in Ghana, where it has helped increase exports to the United States across a range of products, including apparel, shea butter, cocoa paste, baskets, cassava, fruit pulp, and other processed agricultural items. In many cases, it is women-owned businesses in Ghana and other African countries that are supplying these products to the United States, and women-owned companies in the United States that are sourcing these goods from the continent. However, it is important to note that despite these successes, there have also been challenges, and only a handful of the 49 countries in sub-Saharan Africa have taken significant advantage of AGOA. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement, or the AfCFTA, presents another important opportunity for African countries to attract more investment and help small and women-owned businesses find new markets for their products and successfully compete in the global economy. According to the World Bank, the AfCFTA could boost regional income by 7%, or $450 billion, and lift 30 million people out of extreme poverty by 2035. However, as the World Bank's chief economist for Africa stated, successful implementation will be key, including careful monitoring of all workers, women and men, skilled and unskilled, across all countries and sectors to ensure the agreement's full benefit. The United States agrees with this and has committed its support to the development and implementation of the AfCFTA Accord. We especially want to ensure that women, small and medium-sized business owners, and historically underrepresented and underserved communities get the most out of this trade deal. This is why we are particularly excited about the protocol of the AfCFTA that will aim to promote Africa's women and youth when it is negotiated. And in February, USTR worked with the Commercial Law Development Program to launch a USAID-funded government-wide initiative to strengthen our collaboration with a broad range of stakeholders in Africa and several organizations, including Howard University and the International Trade Center, to support this protocol. Finally, the focus of this year's Women's History Month is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. For the Biden-Harris administration, exploring how to use every tool in the box to design systems and policies to dismantle structural inequality and result in meaningful policy outcomes is a central priority. It is the reason why the president signed an unprecedented executive order on advancing racial equity shortly after he was sworn into office. It is also the reason why he named USTR to the newly re-established Gender Policy Council and why we were pleased to support the development of the United States' first national strategy on gender equity and equality. It is why the President's trade policy agenda last year included advancing racial equity and gender for the first time in our nation's history. To inform this work, last October, Ambassador Tai requested an unprecedented, historic, independent investigation on the distributional effects of trade and trade policy on workers by race, ethnicity, gender, orientation, age, ability, and from underserved and marginalized communities. Beginning on March 1st and concluding by May 17th, the U.S. International Trade Commission will gather this information by hosting national roundtables, an academic symposium, and a hearing to compile public comments. We are crafting a durable, inclusive, worker-centered trade policy because we know that women, equity, equality, economic security, and opportunity are the key to the success of communities, both here in the United States and across the continent. I am excited about the potential of what we can achieve through the Women's Empowerment Lab to increase intra-African and transatlantic trade through AGOA and the AfCFTA, and the work we can do together, building on this partnership to deliver equitable growth and prosperity to all of our workers and communities, especially women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agama, for giving us your remarks and telling us of the great opportunities under the Biden administration, and particularly your office, the U.S. Trade Representative. At Howard, we are open for business, and we are hoping that this will be the beginning of greater partnerships to engage in more activities for women. And so I'm very delighted at this moment to turn over the virtual microphone to the Howard University Chief Academic Officer and Provost Anthony Wuto. The microphone is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Dawuni. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to the Women's Empowerment Lab, all formal protocols being observed. It is certainly my honor and my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of the entire Howard University community. I want to especially thank Ambassador Stephanie Sullivan, the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, and Ambassador Hajia Alima Mahama, the Ghanaian ambassador to the United States, for their leadership in supporting this event. I also want to thank my colleagues at Howard University, Dr. Jarpa Dawuni, the founding director of the Center for Women, Gender, and Global Leadership, and Dr. Krista Johnson, the director of the Center for African Studies, for their leadership in organizing and supporting this event as well. Howard University recently celebrated the 155th anniversary of our founding in 1867. As you may be aware, we were founded as an institution shortly following the Civil War in this country to provide opportunities for newly freed slaves and their children. Howard has long had a strong relationship with Africa and people of the African diaspora. We've also been an advocate for women in leadership and entrepreneurship, and so we're very supportive of this program. The African Continental Free Trade Area offers a market of 1.3 billion people with reduced barriers to trade and access to new export markets. As well, AGOA facilitates duty-free trade for more than 1,800 products. And the Women's Empowerment Lab is designed to provide you and the women entrepreneurs in Ghana and US-based African diaspora the information and tools needed to seize these opportunities, while presenting the opportunity to form business connections both locally and across the Atlantic. Our expectation is that this program will help expose you to US and Ghanaian initiatives designed to help your business capitalize on export opportunities. As a native Ghanaian and the son of an entrepreneurial mother, we certainly look forward to the opportunities that will be outlined and ways that Howard University can assist towards our mutual success. Thank you for joining, and God bless.
Thank you, Provost Wuto, for bringing us remarks from the university administration. I would now turn over the virtual microphone to Ms. Pamela Cook-Hamilton, who is the Executive Director of our co-sponsoring organization, the International Trade Center. Ms. Hamilton, over to you.
Thank you so very much. It's really a pleasure to be here. All formal protocols observed. Good afternoon. Firstly, let me take this opportunity to congratulate Ghana on celebrating 65 years of independence a few weeks ago. Ghana was the trailblazer for decolonization and a vision for not only Africa, but all Africans in the diaspora, of which I am one. The great Kwame Nkrumah was a legend in Jamaica and spearheaded the Pan-African movement. And he must be smiling now as he sees the AfCFTA give legs and soul to his life's work. I'd also like to thank the US Embassy in Ghana for bringing us all together today to empower women-led businesses in Africa and the diaspora. After starting my time as executive director under COVID restrictions, my first official mission as executive director just last September was to West Africa and to Ghana and Nigeria in particular. Mere words would fail to adequately reflect how much that visit had personal resonance for me as a descendant of those who refused to die, and 400 years later walked back through the door of no return. Thank you to Ambassador Sullivan for a great meeting in Accra, and to my sister Afua, who I know is speaking on the next panel, for being such a gracious host. We're all here to help businesses capitalize on their market access through the AfCFTA and AGOA, helping busy and dynamic entrepreneurs turn these pieces of paper negotiated by governments through international organizations like my own into business reality. The US just finished celebrating Black History Month, and we're now in Women's History Month. So I cannot think of a better time to reaffirm my own commitment and that of my staff at the International Trade Center in Geneva to fair and equitable trade for women in business on both sides of the Atlantic, linked by centuries of shared culture, trauma, resilience, and survival. Along with our US partners, we help create opportunities for women-led businesses through trade because we recognize the pivotal role women can play in advancing Africa's economic standing. We know that women need more than just tariff reductions and rules of origin. They need a whole range of enabling policies. They need more access to finance, a more inclusive trade policy, a clearer business environment, coaching, training, and upskilling, fewer biases, better salaries, and more support at home. This is where intra-African trade comes in. When we place women at the heart of African trade, it builds a more integrated market. It creates continental value chains. It secures decent jobs for women and youth. Sorry, I'm having some issues with my computer here. Sorry. I'm sorry. Let me just go back a little bit. Something came up in my computer that just blocked my thing. Sorry, the AfCFTA is driving this agenda. It will enable the African private sector to increase competitiveness and improve productive capacities to engage international markets. Currently, women are spread across the formal and informal sectors of Africa. By mainstreaming gender policies, the AfCFTA provides a gateway for women-led businesses to formalize their activities and tap into the continental market. When we make the AfCFTA truly inclusive, it will expand women's opportunities to engage in international markets with improved product quality and business approaches. This is why I'm here today. I believe that co-hosting this Women's Empowerment Lab for women-led businesses is pivotal. It will provide guidance, technical assistance, and support the improvement of business ecosystems in Ghana and beyond. It's a clear demonstration of ITC's commitment to support US initiatives in Ghana and aim to extend women entrepreneurs' access to international markets through AGOA. ITC has worked to empower women entrepreneurs in Ghana through our flagship She Trades initiative. We want to help move Ghanaian women from the periphery of international trade and bring them into the heart of the continental project. We want to help Ghanaian women be even more dynamic and proactive in business, just as they are in all aspects of life. Through our One Trade Africa program, we're committed to maximizing the benefits for women-led businesses by providing tailored support to make the most of opportunities available through the AfCFTA. SheTrades is also advocating for improved policies for women in business to boost continental trade possibilities and help business support institutions better support women-owned firms. I'd like to commend the US State Department's initiative to promote women's economic empowerment. The Power Initiative perfectly matches ITC's commitment to engage the private sector and promote women in business. I'm thrilled that we're partnering with Howard University, one of the preeminent HBCUs, and where my son was actually accepted to do African studies, but decided not to. I'm hoping that he will eventually go for his master's. But thank you so much for accepting him. But want to recognize Howard University for giving women-led businesses the tools and information needed to increase export opportunities alongside the ITC. During the follow-up mini workshops, my own ITC experts will introduce women-led businesses to a training program called How to Export under the AfCFTA, developed in partnership with AfroEximbank. It helps businesses drill down past all the legal texts to really understand where market opportunities lie and how they can access them. I'd also like to recognize the Assistant USTR. Thank you so much for your work on this and your partnership. We really do appreciate it, and hopefully when I meet with Ambassador Tai in Washington, DC in a few weeks, we will be able to discuss more how ITC can collaborate and support the US efforts in engaging and increasing intra-African and the transatlantic trade. So let me close by making a call to collective action. To increase the participation of women-led businesses in international trade, we must work hand in hand. Together, we can hit 3 birds with 1 stone. We can empower women in business, we can pave the way towards a more inclusive and dynamic African regional market, we can boost trade between the US and Africa. It represents a closing of the circle of separation and builds new bonds to enable women to thrive. My next mission to Washington, DC, I'll be championing the AfCFTA and the critical importance of women's economic empowerment to all the US interlocutors with whom I meet. African women, both on the continent and the diaspora, have held together families, societies, and economies. And it is time for us to harness their collective power and resilience to build and cement success for future generations, built on a new and moral transatlantic trade. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cook-Hamilton, for your remarks and reminding us that this is a win-win situation for all. Thank you. I would hand over the virtual microphone now to Mr. Prudence Sebahizi, who is the Chief Technical Advisor for the Africa Free Trade Continental Area. Thank you, Mr. Sebahizi.
Thank you very much. I'm waiting for the host to allow me to show my video.
Okay.
But I can still proceed.
All right. She should be doing that now shortly.
You should be able to show your video. There we go.
Now it is on. All right. Thank you very much. Let me start by appreciating all those who have spoken before me. Ambassador Sullivan, Ambassador Mahama, Ambassador Agama, the US Trade Representative, Pamela, the Executive Director, ITC, Dr. Wuto from Howard University. I thank you for your very good remarks, and I'm here on behalf of His Excellency, the Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, Mr. Wamkele Mene, and I would like to join my colleagues to express our appreciation for allowing the AfCFTA Secretariat to engage and share its perspective on a matter which is very important to the achievement of the goals of the Africa we want, of the Africa Agenda 63, sorry. As you know, His Excellency Wamkele, the Secretary General, is a champion of women and youth empowerment, and the Secretariat of the AfCFTA remains committed to working tirelessly in collaboration with the women, youth, and key stakeholders to ensure that the African Continental Free Trade Area delivers its promises to improve the lives of the Africans through inclusive trade. The AfCFTA is designed to create an inclusive trade environment that takes into account the specific features and challenges of African businesses, which studies have already shown operate as micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, or as informal cross-border traders. According to the ITC report, small and medium enterprises represent 90% of businesses on the continent, and they employ about 60% of the workers, and many of whom are women and youth. Again, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, notes that women and youth in poor households make up a large share of informal traders, and that the tendency to work as contributing family workers, typically in agriculture or as survivorist entrepreneurs in the informal sector, is greater among women. It is understood that inclusive growth occurs when its benefits are widely shared across all segments of the population. That is, if it reduces simultaneously extreme poverty and inequality. Or put differently, inclusive growth implies less inequality, equal opportunities, and equitable distribution of well-being in society across different classes, cultures, communities, and genders. Inclusiveness is pivotal to Africa's development agenda. Indeed, aspiration of the Agenda 2063, Aspiration 6, seeks to create an Africa whose development is people-driven, relying on the potential of African people, especially its women and youth. One of the goals under Aspiration 6 is to strengthen the role of Africa's women through gender equality and parity in all spheres of life. Full gender equality in all spheres of life. AfCFTA state parties recognize the importance of gender equality for the AfCFTA to deliver its development promises. As such, the AfCFTA seeks to promote and attain sustainable and inclusive socioeconomic development, gender equality, and structural transformation of the state parties. AfCFTA state parties further undertake to mobilize resources and implement measures with a view to improving the export capacity of both formal and informal service suppliers, with particular attention to micro, small, and medium-sized women and youth service suppliers. African leaders have further recognized the key role that women and youth play in the AfCFTA economies and have made commitment to broaden inclusiveness in the operation of the AfCFTA through interventions that support young Africans, women, and small and medium enterprises, as well as integrating informal cross-border traders into formal economy by implementing the simplified trade regime. The commitment was made at the highest level of decision-making and is clear indication of the determination of African heads of state and government to ensuring that no one, including women and youth, are left behind. It is also a strong recognition of the specificities of African businesses and trade trends on the continent and the need for coherent policies complemented by sound and robust implementation to maximize utilization of opportunities offered by the AfCFTA. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the true measure of success of the AfCFTA will be determined not only by the volume of intra-African trade, but more importantly, by the ability of the African private sector, especially women and youth-led businesses and entrepreneurs, to meaningfully trade and benefit in such a way as to improve their standards of life. The AfCFTA Secretariat is working towards translating the gender equality and inclusiveness commitment into AfCFTA protocol on women and youth in trade. The ultimate objective will be to create a legal framework that guides AfCFTA state parties in addressing specific constraints women entrepreneurs and women-led businesses face when trading on the continent, and enhancing their capacity to trade in the AfCFTA trade regime. In this regard, the AfCFTA Secretariat, in collaboration with UNDP and UN Women, engaged in a consultative process through national consultations in 26 countries and surveys to capture the voices of women in trade on the constraint they face when trading, and their expectation, of course, regarding how the AfCFTA should deliver for them. The consultations and surveys allows the AfCFTA Secretary to make the process of developing and eventually negotiating the protocol on women in trade as participatory as possible, by allowing stakeholders who will be directly affected to have a say in what goes into the protocol. It is also important to keep in mind, however, that the protocol is not going to provide all solutions. It has to be supplemented by policies and programs that improve women's access to finance, trade-related information, factors of production such as land, and intermediate inputs that support women in the compliance of standards and regulations such as SPS and TBT measures, and that enhance the capacity of women to diversify their products and services in order to remain competitive in the AfCFTA market. This would require a shift from small-scale and survivalist activities to higher productivity, high-skilled and opportunity-driven ones. A concerted, coordinated, and coherent collaboration of all actors, which means regulators, policymakers, development partners, and financial institutions, is very necessary to implement these complementary measures. In addition to the protocol, the AfCFTA Secretariat has developed a private sector engagement strategy that focuses on identifying priority value chains and interventions in key sectors with the potential for inclusivity of women, youth, and SMEs, including agriculture and agro-processing, transportation, and logistics. And the aim of this strategy is to identify and address the bottlenecks in the sectors to foster integration into regional and global value chains. Tools have also been developed within the framework of the AfCFTA to facilitate trade, including the AfCFTA non-tariff barriers reporting, monitoring, and elimination mechanism, and the Pan-African payment and settlement system, which has been launched in January this year. As I conclude my remarks, I would like to remind that the AfCFTA does offer tangible development and poverty-reducing opportunities for women. The AfCFTA Secretariat will continue to engage with women in trade and key stakeholders through stakeholder engagement and consultations on constraints women in trade face and on the key element to be included in the protocol on women in trade. With these remarks that I'm delivering on behalf of His Excellency Wamkele, I would like to thank you all, and I would like to wish you a very productive session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sebahazi, for those remarks. Thank you once again to all our audience and participants for joining us today in the virtual Howard University. It has been my pleasure to moderate this opening ceremony. And we are running behind time, so I'm not going to give all the remarks and conclusions, but we've all heard from the wonderful presenters from the government administration, for representatives of government, US government, the Ghana government, and also from ITC and academics in the form of Provost Wuto from Howard University. So at this time, I would encourage everyone, few housekeeping rules. Please use the chat box to interact with one another. But if you have a question for the panelists, please use the Q&A box and we'll try as much as possible to get to all your questions. And so I'll turn over now to the second part of the event, which is a panel discussion to be moderated by Howard University full professor Elizabeth Asiedu, professor in the Department of Economics. Professor Asiedu, I hand over to you now. Thank you. Professor Asiedu, you're muted.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Japa, Dr. Dawuni. Good morning, good afternoon to you all, and thanks for making time to join us. We are a little bit behind, so I'm going to go straight to and start our panel. I'm happy and excited to be the moderator. We're going to have 5, important presenters, and we'll start with Ayeshe Bedoe. She's the president of AmCham Ghana, and each presenter would have about 5 minutes. And please type in your questions in the Q&A feature so that after the presentation, we can answer your questions. Okay, so please go ahead and start. I'm going to mute.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be part of this panel. As was mentioned, my name is Aisha Bedwe Ibe. I'm the president of the American Chamber of Commerce based in Ghana. I'm also the tax leader and tax partner at PwC based in Accra, Ghana as well. So I'm glad to be here to share a few remarks on the importance of AfCFTA and how this interacts with women and our ability to attain economic success in the area of business and also trade. One thing I'll just say very briefly is that there were already inequalities before COVID-19, but the pandemic just came along to exacerbate and draw a lot of light onto what was already a problem and make it worse. AfCFTA, through the various provisions that it makes and liberalizing and opening up trade in the West African part of the world, will enable women to be able to sort of jump through the barriers and overcome all the obstacles that they were facing. As trade opens up, so does it open up for women as well. And so cross-border trade, particularly the informal sector, is definitely going to increase as a result of AfCFTA based on everything that we know so far. There are various challenges that already occur which make it difficult. Non-economic challenges as well, such as sexual harassment, vulnerability, violence, bullying, confiscation of goods, and even imprisonment. And we're looking forward to the tariff reductions after AfCFTA, opening up those channels for women to operate through formal sectors as well. We want to transition from a heavily informal economy to a formal one. And this enables more protection, enables more opportunities in a structured manner, and also enables women to compete at the levels that they should. So I'm very excited to be part of this panel today for us to discover, uncover, and just have an open discussion about these matters. And hopefully we can get a bit closer to empowering women to be successful economically and financially. Thank you very much. And I'll hand over back to the moderator to invite the other panelists to make their presentations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayesha. Our next presenter is Mr. Michael Nicolson. He's with USAID West Africa.
Thank you, Professor. I'm here in Accra, Ghana, representing USAID West Africa. And I want to talk about some of the opportunities that are available for entrepreneurs, potential exporters that we help implement here in the region and across the continent. The 2 main areas for the US government that we're seeking to implement, one is, as been mentioned, the Prosper Africa initiative, and the other is the Africa Growth and Opportunities Act, or AGOA. And we have 2 major activities USAID does in West Africa to help facilitate or implement these larger approaches. One is through the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub, which Ambassador Sullivan referenced earlier by talking about some of the grants that we've recently announced for working with entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs here in West Africa. What the Trade Hub does, in some ways, it helps to facilitate AGOA. It provides assistance on meeting some of the requirements it takes. And to be clear, what AGOA does is that it provides the opportunity for duty-free exporting to the United States for sectors, particular sectors, for African countries that meet the guidelines, which includes 15 countries across West Africa. And the way it does that is provide support for very technical things about trade that are a part of exporting, like product classification, meeting eligibility status, export documentation, meaning the compliance for U.S. Food and Drug Administration if you're exporting a commodity, an agricultural commodity. And it also does a lot of trade information or convening to try and connect buyers and sellers. We do work in the United States too to find potential buyers for suppliers from Africa. Another thing that Trade Hub does with the grants, and this is specific to today's topic, is that what the grants are provided to is for our private sector partners. And it reaches into space like training. So for example, the apparel sector in Ghana is a high technical skill job, and it becomes more high valued, and it's dominated by women who are doing the work. So what the grant does is it provides, we, being the US government, help provide the training to private firms for the women in this sector, who then have skills that they can use either for different companies or within a certain factory or firm to create these high valued exports to the United States. That's one example of what the grants are used for, is to encourage women economic empowerment. Now, the other activity that we call them activities, the Africa Trade and Investment activity, which is like the West Africa Trade Hub, but it covers the entire continent, including North Africa, which is somewhat new for the US government, this Pan-African approach. And it works very similar to the Trade Hub. And we have grafted onto that, in addition, a very specific emphasis on how to engage with women's economic empowerment with broad sector coverage, including apparel, but also one space, and I'll land on this one space that is fintech, and a huge effort to not only engage women in working in fintech, but having fintech as a means by which women entrepreneurs can use basic financial services, overcome some of the various barriers that we have. And there's the concept here is that women, the data shows that women generally have access to a lot of resources that are used for creation of goods and exporting, but they don't have control. And so fintech is one of the tools that we use to help make this shift from access to control. And then seeking also this other leap, because fintech is this microfinance space that helps certainly with informal sector, small, medium enterprises, but for transformative change. And that's what I think we're talking about, both from the United States with the Prosper Africa initiative and with the new AfCFTA, is this transformational change. And that's large commercial finance, large efforts to really shift these sectors and move the value added into the export process, so that a lot of the wealth that gets generated gets maintained, not only within Africa, but within the women entrepreneurs of Africa. Over. Back to you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Nicolson, and in particular for sharing what the role of fintech, in particular, in assisting women in the small and medium enterprises. And it is indeed, a game changer for women. Thank you. Our next speaker is Dr. Asari. Dr. Asari is the CEO of Ghana Export Promotion Center.
Hello. Good afternoon, and I'm very excited to be a part of this panel, and thanks to all who made this possible. Global trade has been recently affected by new trends, and especially in the area of services, global value chains, as well as the digital economy, which is opening up important economic opportunities for women, which also has the potential to expand women's role in any economy. It has the potential to decrease inequality and also expand women's access to skill and education. But how have we as a country, Ghana, positioned ourselves and our women to reap these rewards? As part of our National Export Development Strategy, we have had to make a conscious effort to advocate for the adoption of reforms in trade policy that reduce discrimination against women while building the significant human capital that women represent. Because we believe that trade can dramatically improve women's lives, creating new jobs for everybody. The National Export Development Strategy, our page or our area on gender and youth disability is in pursuant of the Sustainable Development Goal number 5 on gender equality. The export strategy is integrated with core gender issues, especially those relating to cultural values and practices which discriminate against women and limit their access to land, credit, and other resource inputs and benefits accruing from work done. Given that women have dominated the export landscape for a long time, in practical terms, this means providing support to women exports-oriented businesses and activities to increase their participation in export, while at the same time ensuring that there's a gender balance. 1, GEPA and the National Export Development Strategy has identified women as the main agents of change to achieve social balance and social justice. We therefore work with and empower our women by helping to remove obstacles that impede their export activities, by institutionalizing the collection and analysis of statistical data on women-owned enterprises, mostly in export, by promoting measures that strengthen women product associations to facilitate their access to resources, benefits, and also to training, by advocating for access to resources such as land. And I'm reading something here. I think my camera is off. Okay, so I put it on. By liaising with ministries and agencies that promote gender-related policies and programs so that we can achieve an effective alignment and cooperation for increased exports. We have also implemented tailor-made capacity building programs for our women. And at the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, we have the Impact Hub, where we have made it very, very easy for women to access information on exports and their businesses, and also use the hub as an innovation center, as well as a place to meet with potential customers or clients, where we will be there to support them throughout their journey till they are able to do their first export. If they are new to the export business, we have in the Impact Hub also agencies such as the Ghana Standards Authority, Ghana Food and Drugs Authority, the Ministry of Agri represented in the Impact Hub, so they can easily use the services of all of these people without crisscrossing the whole of Accra, trying to put together their businesses and business plans and whatever it is. We have supported women to go to expos outside of the country and inside the country. Every month we have one such exhibition where a lot of the women are encouraged to come and showcase their products, even in this country, before we take them outside of the country. We have crafts markets that we are refurbishing all around the country. And one such craft market is the Ibri Craft Market, if you know Ghana very well, in the Eastern region. We do a lot of collaboration with the Ghana Enterprises Agency especially when it was during the COVID, when the stimulus package was being given out. We packaged our women properly and sent them to the GEA so that they can also benefit from the stimulus package. Aside that, we are working with She Trades and ITC on a lot of initiatives and interventions that concern women. I think that when the questions come, you will be able to answer a lot more. So thank you very much, Prof. I'll end my presentation here.
Thank you, Dr. Asari. Our next speaker is Ajo Didi, and her last name is also Asari. Hi, Ajo.
Hi, Doug. Thank you so much. I am speaking. Hi, my name is Ajo Didi Asari, and I am in the apparel manufacturing industry. And this business was started by my mom some 30 odd years ago, and I joined her about 15 years ago. This business is a very great place for women in this country to be in. And actually, we find a lot of our mothers, our grandmothers who know how to sew and have been in this business for years. And it's also one of the major contributors to the AGOA network, net worth of money come as exports out of this country. And our company, Alfie Designs, has benefited from the AGOA policy. We started exporting to the US market from the year 2017, but due to COVID 2020, our exports reduced drastically because of the lockdowns across the world, and 2021 it reduced further. And we are hoping that this year, as the economies are opening up and businesses are coming back to physical instead of all being virtual, and the lockdowns are going away, we are finding the vaccines to help us move around. We are believing that the exports will now pick up and then we'll start business again. And I would say that for my industry, the West African Trade Hub has been one of my helping points, and the US Embassy as well here in Ghana has been pivotal to the opportunities to access AGOA. Notwithstanding our Ghanaian aspects with Dr. Asari, my namesake, we've had opportunities of exploring trade shows together for her to see hands-on what women we are able to do out there, and the networking, the business deals, the opportunities out there in the out there for us as Ghanaian women. So I would say that the AfCFTA is also another major one that as it starts to roll out, to be able to do very good business, because for my industry, sometimes you are going for a trade show or you are going for a festival, like an example of Essence Music Festival in New Orleans. Sometimes you need to buy the mad cloth for Mali or Senegal or Burkina. You need to buy anything from the other West African countries. I believe that with this AfCFTA agreement, you'll be able to trade well within the region, the sub-region, and be able to share culture, share ideas about our products, and be able to do so much more. So in a nutshell, I would say that this is a very great opportunity for us women to take advantage of it, and especially for us as Ghanaians. And I would say our government has been pivotal for promoting the women, especially during COVID, because our company was part of the first 5 companies to be contracted by Ministry of Trade and Ministry of Health to provide the cloth reusable face masks, hospital gowns, the PPEs, and all that helped to sustain us during the COVID period. So I would say that we are in a great time to be able to do good business, take advantage of all the various opportunities out there. The West African Trade Hub, GEPA is one of the good places to be part of, especially if you are meaning to do good international export business. Also be in touch with, we are waiting for AfCFTA to start. We are really hoping that it really pulls through so that we are able to do very good business across, because we used to do trade shows in Rwanda, South Africa, Uganda. These are things that our company was already involved in. So with this new trade agreement, I believe that we'll be able to do so much more. So in a nutshell, Alfie Designs is an apparel manufacturing company that provides mass production of apparel for both local and then international markets. Our company has been certified by SEDEX. We are ethically sourced and we do all our things by international standards. So this in a nutshell is a little about Alfie Designs and about work that we do. Thank you so much, and over to you, Doc.
Thank you, Alfie. Thanks for sharing information about your business. I don't think I mentioned earlier, but I am from Ghana. And so it's even extra exciting to moderate this session. And thanks, this is a success story, and you are definitely a role model to many Ghanaian women business women. Okay, our last speaker is Ms. Patricia Pokudabi, and he's the CEO of Plot Enterprise. Hi, Patricia.
Hello, Elizabeth. Good afternoon, morning, depending on your time zone. My pleasure to be here with you to share the Plot story. I debuted my career as a trader in agricultural goods. Being born into a family of industrialists, I came to find trading alone to be somewhat unfulfilling, and that was how Plot Ghana was born. At Plot, we process cocoa beans into cocoa liquor or mass, cocoa butter, cocoa cake, natural or alkalized. In order to break through the international market, we had to distinguish ourselves by adding more value to the technical setup. Our investment, therefore, was significant across the process chain and was probably one of the largest single investment by a totally Ghanaian non-governmental corporate at the time, a perfect fit into the government's adopted strategy to add value to agricultural crops. African countries, and Ghana for that matter, have placed special emphasis on the cocoa sector, and rightly so, when you think of the fact that West Africa produces about 80% of world cocoa, yet in terms of revenue represents less than 10%. Now, whoever talks cocoa talks chocolate, and who talks chocolate talks food. So at Plot, quality and safety is a hallmark. It remains a source of pride for us that barely a year after we started full production, we, a local company, were in 2011 the first in the cocoa processing sector to attain the highest food certification standard in Ghana, at the time ISO 22000. Subsequently, migrating to FSC 22000 and BRCA in 2014. I emphasize on these days, as it goes to prove that we have been consistent in maintaining these standards during the annual re-audits. Indeed, we have gained international recognition for our products and rank amongst the highest in terms of food management systems. Our client profile stands at over 40 customers worldwide, and we are proud to say our own certificate of analysis is accepted by all. We have been tried and tested and approved supplier by most of the big names in the chocolate industry. Despite the seeming beauty of our story, there are complexities in trading internationally. One main challenge we face is price volatility, at least in our sector. Cocoa has the peculiarity of being volatile, with actors who engage in paper trade and with the means to squeeze the market at will, pushing prices in any manner they see profitable at a given time, up or down. This is a big challenge for us trading the physicals, more so in our industry where 80% of our cost of production is linked to a commodity traded on the London and New York futures market. Unfortunately, to date, There is no financial tool in West Africa to manage the risk associated with this volatility. With no means to manage the price volatility driven by the market, we are not well equipped to deal with the variations and shocks of the industry. Also, for a manufacturing concern, it is important to have adequate trade lines so as to give comfort to buyers in terms of reliability of supply. This is another issue for us. But we are still here and not to be deterred from forging ahead in overcoming the challenges we face. This is the strength of a woman, determination. However, I want to believe that with the establishment of AfCFTA, we would widen our market frontiers. AfCFTA could be a global game changer with the creation of a single market for goods, services, investment businesses would no doubt reprofile our existing economies, and this will be a huge step forward. For our sector, that is cocoa, we see growing demand for chocolate products within the region. Countries like Senegal, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, that is Francophone West Africa, who typically lived on coffee, as opposed to any other beverage, are now consuming more and more chocolate drinks. There is also a steady growing consumption of chocolate products in Northern Africa. These areas we know are tea areas. Even traditional desserts and sweets from these areas are now chocolate enrolled. Most restaurants are adding more chocolate desserts to their menu, more chocolate spreads, snacks, and I could go on and on. AfCFTA should give us a common market with ease of penetration created by the platform it offers. We also expect the platform to allow sourcing of some of our inputs for the production process with quicker turnaround time. For example, we import our cake bags from Europe and also from Cote d'Ivoire, which is closer. Currently, the administrative processes for clearing our bags imported from Cote d'Ivoire can take up to a week. With AfCFTA, this should be easier. We have, as a company, also benefited from AGOA as we export to the USA. At a point in time, over 25% of our production went to the USA. In actual fact, we supply one of the big names in the chocolate industry in the USA. And with AGOA, our competitiveness was given a boost in that our buyers would not have to bear the additional cost of import tax, which makes buying from us more attractive. In conclusion, I would say that AfCFTA, with a market of about 1.2 billion people, and AGOA, an opening to an additional 330 million, should bring the market target to some 1.5 billion. This should change the narrative in a positive direction for us here in Ghana. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for sharing with us the story of Plot. Talked about your successes and then as well as challenges. You know, my mouth started watering when you started talking about chocolate. And so we're going to move on to the Q&A session. And we will start with okay, just a minute, please. What time do we have? We don't have much time, but we'll try and answer a few questions. But I must say that in 2018, summer 2018, I was in New Zealand, and at the airport, I was surprised to see chocolate made from Ghana. Chocolate from Ghana, and it tasted wonderful. And so we would start with a few questions. Was I supposed to get help with this? Okay, so the first question is from Justine Mensah. Please give me 1 minute here. Yes, Kristen would read the questions for us. Thank you, Kristen.
Sure, no problem. So in the interest of time, I'll try and I think group a couple of questions. There are some questions pertaining to the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, and then also our USAID colleague and the West Africa Trade and Investment Hub. If they could give perhaps some more specifics about how people can contact them and engage, or is it a sign-up process to become a client or a member, or what is that process? And if people can give a bit more, in particular, Dr. Asari and USAID, to give some specifics in terms of how people can contact you and what might be the steps of engaging in those programs. Thank you.
Thank you. At the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, we have offices in 8 regions of the country, and hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be in all the 16 regions. You can contact any of our offices in the Ashanti region, in the Central region, in Greater Accra, in Eastern Volta. Can contact any of our offices. You can also go to our website and you see what we can offer and how you can be a client of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. It just takes you to register with 200 Ghana cedis for a whole year, and then you can access all the support that we give our exporters. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And with regard to the trade hubs, I understand the best way to do this would be through a link in their websites, which I believe are on the website for the Women's Empowerment Lab. At least for the trade hub, we'll also have the Africa Trade Investment. I think we need to add that one. But if you go to that website, you'll look for, you will apply. There's an opportunity to apply for grants. It's under a what's called an annual program statement. So this is maybe what you want to write down, APS annual program statement. And that's what we call for our calls for grants. One thing I want to emphasize is that sometimes going through a website, I do this when I'm trying to find things, it's confusing, and then you get to an application. The application has, we ask for things that you're probably maybe not familiar with. Please don't let that dissuade you. What I want you to do, what we want you to do, if it seems complicated and ask for information that you're not familiar with, reach out to us and make sure that we can fix that and we can work with you on the grants. What we have this, we call them co-creation. And what we absolutely do not want to do is make the access to these grants themselves or even the application process inaccessible. So if you find anything in that, please reach out, give us the feedback, and we'll work with you to help facilitate even the application process. But it is an application process. It's through the activities websites, which are on the Women's Empowerment Lab, and it's the annual program statement, APS.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nicolson. So we also had a question, and I guess this is actually, to be honest, also for Dr. Asari and maybe Mr. Nicolson. Do you work specifically with rural women entrepreneurs, or are there programs that specifically target rural women entrepreneurs?
It is targeted at all women entrepreneurs. And I just want to also add that it can be quite intimidating for some of these women to fill application forms on what Mr. Nicolson just spoke about. So normally we will entreat the women to approach us at GEPA, where we will assist you to even fill in these application forms. So it is for every woman everywhere who wants to be in business. We can assist you. We can assist you to even fill your application forms for all the grants that you need. You can take advantage of our Impact Hub, where we have all the computer and all the information on the computers and people in that space to even support you as you go about filling the application forms for grants. And we can point you to all the grants that you need as we work with all of these agencies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's, I think, helpful information. So it seems like GEPA is really, and certainly GEPA, and then the USAID and Prosper Africa websites are, I think, are definitely your first point of information there. We've actually gone over time now, so I want to turn it over back to Dr. Asiedu, I guess, to ask any other remaining questions and then to round this out.
Thank you so much again for participating in the in this session. We're gonna move on to, we're gonna have the next mini workshop, and that starts at, okay, so I'm in the US here, so what time is 14:30, so very soon. Yeah, just in about 3 minutes or so. So I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you, and please stay in touch.
Thank you. And I think to all of the attendees of the mini workshop, yeah, locate your separate Zoom link in your inbox, because that should have just been sent to you in the last hour or so. And then I would also just say, we'll probably need to take about 10 minutes, and then so we'll start maybe a little bit late, maybe about 5 minutes after. Thank you.